Hello, dear viewers. Thank you so much for joining me for your daily tarot reading. I always ask you to choose the stone that draws you, the one that really resonates with your intuition, and we'll begin. All right. You can always listen to more than one too, because your intuition helps you to hear what you're supposed to hear in this too. For those of you who chose the green aventuring, we have the Tower, we have the King of Swords, we have the Five of Swords. Very interesting. Okay, so the Tower simply means there's a situation that changes things. It shakes things up enough that you can have a shift in the way things are. And sometimes it's important to have a shift in the way things are. And I don't know what area of your life that could be in. It can be big, it can be small, but there's something that can be unexpected, perhaps. It's a turning point for sure. Things are different after that. It may involve a plan, a conversation. This can be somebody in your life who is sort of like has to win, speaks, yeah, a lot of times to win or to make their point, no matter how other people feel about it. These two are walking away. So maybe the Tower is with the King of Swords is you seeing that very clearly and maybe saying something about it or making a plan, a very logical plan, not based on emotion, but a very logical plan for how you're going to deal with that or no longer deal with it, whichever. But the King of Swords, he's mature. He can put his emotion aside. He can't be manipulated, because he can put his emotion aside and just go based on the facts and follow his plan, no matter what anybody feels about it. So that can be the meaning of these cards. Or sometimes the meaning of this card, this is a victory card. Sometimes it can be you've decided to cut something away. And you're doing that, yes, in a logical way. You're being kind of King of Swords about it. Like, I don't know. I don't know how anyone feels about it, or I do know how people feel about it, but you know what? We've got to do what's logical. We've got to look at this in a very logical way. It's not the time to be emotional about it. And so there may be a victory or cutting away of something that is smart, actually. Swords can be thoughts, they can be clarity. There can be something that makes a change in any of these areas. So those are some interesting, powerful cards, but there is a real reassurance with that King of Swords that you will be thinking logically and intelligently about it. All right, for those of you who chose this sort of interesting orange-veined gray stone, we have the Devil, we have the King of Coins, we have the Page of Swords. So the Devil is a bedeviling situation. That's all that is. A situation that feels hard to get out of. The Devil card can come up sometimes with addiction, but sometimes anything that's sort of obsessive, sometimes even obsessive worry, or any kind of behavior that's excessive, or it's just, it almost takes on a life of its own, like you don't feel like you have complete control over it, or yeah, it feels kind of powerful in your life, and that doesn't feel good. You don't like that. So whatever this signifies for you, you may have begun a plan for how to deal with it in a logical way, which is great. In fact, the Page of Swords often picks up the Ace of Swords, right? The opportunity given for clarity. So that is terrific. The King of Coins is a nice reassurance as you're looking at these cards, saying, but you know what? Your stability is there. You've established some real stability in your life, and you're going to be fine. That's sort of like that remains. Don't worry. Yeah, because sometimes worrying too much about our stability in life that can bring on a bedeviling situation, or that can be what allows bedeviling thoughts. Yeah, that can bring on something where we feel trapped to it, tied to it. So there is sort of a, you're going to be fine. You don't need to worry about that kind of thing. So however this fits for your message, I just see change and becoming free of this is what I see. If you've got a plan you've picked up, it's a good one. You stay with it. Yeah, so that's terrific. That is terrific. Okay, for those of you who chose this interesting pink and brownstone, we have the Queen of Coins, the Three of Swords, the Nine of Wands. All right, well, all minor arcana, not a big deal, which is nice to know when you see the Three of Swords. Because the Three of Swords, well, all that is really is a repetitive, it's a repeating source of irritation or frustration or even hurt feelings. It's a minor arcana kind of reading, so I wouldn't think it means it's a huge, huge event, but there could be something that occurs. Maybe somebody said something, or you're having negative, painful thoughts, and it's something that does arise. It does come up once in a while in your life. It has come up before. Here it comes again, that kind of thing. Well, I think with this Nine of Wands, Source is saying, okay, but please don't make more of that than you need to the point where you're guarded about the future. Like, oh boy, what's next? Oh no, this is happening again. Oh no. It might not be that bad, whatever this is. And I know it's not that bad because these are all minor arcana. This isn't even a major thing today. But it's an opportunity. Whenever the Three of Swords comes up, I always feel like that's an opportunity to look at, maybe it's a belief I have that keeps getting perpetuated. Maybe it used to be true and it's not true anymore. Maybe I'm seeing a pattern, like, those days when you're like, oh, is everything going to go wrong? See, that's a Three of Swords kind of thing. Like, it went wrong when I got up this morning and I spilled my coffee, and then sure enough, there was a light on, the check engine light on my car. I don't know what that is. And then what's it going to be at work? It's like that kind of, sometimes there's that kind of thought process, or boy, it's been a week. It's been like this lately, or nothing seems to be working out at work, or, those kinds of things we tell ourselves are a lot of times are self-fulfilling prophecies. They bring our focus on the negative, or they make too much of a negative. We see a pattern that's maybe not even necessarily all that applicable for this situation. So I think there's definitely a suggestion that you not be guarded about this. You may be overly guarded because maybe some things have been difficult, but you don't need to interpret that in a negative way. Look instead for the ways in which you have established security and kept security, your maturity in being able to do that. Look instead at how well you've survived, how well you've endured, how things have matured you, how you've changed. That is the Queen of Coins. Look instead on that. Sometimes our brains tend to focus on the negative because we're problem solvers, and I think it has a evolutionary adaptive kind of value. But it can get out of hand, and then we're just looking for problems when really we tend to endure and do quite well. So interesting, very interesting reading. All right, an opportunity to look at that. Okay, if anybody wants any further clarification from the Golden Nugget for their reading, we have the Six of Cups. Okay, that's the nostalgia card. Once in a while it comes up to say, if you're wondering how things will go regarding this, just look at the past. Sometimes we need a reminder that the best predictor of future behavior is past behavior. sometimes we need a reminder that, people tend to be who they are. And, you know, if we've seen this from them, chances are good we'll see it again. Not 100%, but chances are good. If a lot of times we keep going back to a solution we like, or maybe a relationship, something that we keep telling ourselves this time it'll be different, or we keep trying the same thing over and over and it doesn't work. So the Six of Cups would say, look at the past. If you're wondering how this is going to go in the future, look at the past. In this particular case, it's relevant. So that's one meaning for that card. Another meaning for that card is just positive reminiscences, positive nostalgia. It can come up when we're going to talk to somebody we've known for a long time. It's going to come up sometimes when we have a nice, contented interaction with someone, perhaps a sibling, or perhaps someone we've known for a while. So that can simply mean that too. Lots of sources of emotional fulfillment. The cups are upright. It's nice. It's nice. Sometimes it is, when we look to the future, look at how things have gone in the past, and that's a positive message, because we're worrying about things, and there's been many times when we've overcome them. You know what I mean? When we've faced similar situations and done just fine. And so sometimes this is a reassurance, like, no, don't worry, look back. You've managed, you will again. It'll be okay. Or look back and remember how worried you were about this or that and it never did happen. That kind of thing. So there's a lot of different meanings there. If you have kids in your life, this could have a nice, pleasant time with children. Many different meanings, but I hope you can pick the one that fits for you and reject the one that doesn't. Because, I always say intuition, I feel like when Source speaks to us through our intuition, it's not in a condemning way. It's not in a fear-inducing way. It's more like, even if it's something that is a difficult reality, we're given it in a reassuring kind of, caring kind of way with solutions, So anything that, feel free to reject interpretations that only bring up anxiety or shame, because those are not the correct interpretations. That doesn't mean that it's not coming from Spirit if it's that. All right. And with that, I will let you go. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.